Hello YouTube and the Infinite Magicraid community. This is Gandolf here. First, I want to start off by thanking the Bulls and Stampede Guild community for encouraging me to get into content creation. It is the most effective way for me to share my game knowledge with everyone who's interested. My goal here is to help everyone get as far as they can in Infinite Magicraid with the resource available to them. So it doesn't matter if you're free to play or a Kraken or a whale, I'm sure you'll find something useful on this channel. Through these in-depth guides, I will be able to help you master this game. So first I'm going to show you a little bit with the two different accounts I'll be using throughout in this channel. And of course, I'm sure there will be guest accounts that will be showing up featuring different members within the guild. And let's start off with this whale account that I have available to me first. So starting off with the sanctuary, you can see it's a little bit over 14,000, so it's pretty high up there. You look at the heroes, for the most part, they're fully exclusive to exclusive 5. Gear-wise, there is quite a bit of purchased gear available on here. In terms of the limited hero you saw there, you have pretty much most of the limited heroes, Panda, Santa, Bunny's there. Lydia's new, haven't got it exclusive yet. So yeah, it's pretty up there. Jack needs some more exclusive in there. In terms of account progression, you look on the PVE side, you can see everything's cleared up to stage 35. Later on, I'll be showing you how to auto all of them. I can auto all of them at 35 with exclusion Marius, maybe at 33 or 34. Tower of Mark, of course, they're all complete. Faction Abyss got the Agatha E2. On the PvP side, you can see pretty much on Zone 3, consistently ranked up there among the big guys at the top. Same for Advanced Arena. So third place over here, fourth on that one. In the championship, you can see with the Avatar finished top 64 for last season. Again, this season finishing up, gonna be competing again in the top 64 again. So this is the whale account. Gonna show you very quickly what a low spender account with about maybe 9 to 10 months of progress looks like. So low spending, I'm talking about like mostly weekly cards. I think on this account I spend probably only, probably less than 400, or $500 maybe. And this is where you can get with mostly just weekly cards and maybe the occasional completion of the event to get the limited hero. And you can see that I finished top 64 as well last season. And again, this season, I am in again into the top 64. This is what the roster looks like. So you can see, for the most part, the limited heroes are not that much available at high exclusive for me. I mean, I do have them. So Santa, I got, I think Panda was the free one, never rolled for Panda. Santa, it was through one event and then got lucky, rolled one. Bunny, I luckily rolled one. Lydia, I finished the event this time and got lucky and rolled one on the free pity. So really not much. You can see the exclusive is not really much there. Really spent only the eye on space to get it to E3 and then got lucky later. Aikino was to help with guild boss progression. And that's pretty much it. You can see not a lot of exclusives, not a lot of build heroes. Sanctuary wise, just over time, it's a 9-10 month account, so eventually made my way up there. So it's like 9,000 right now. Progression wise, usually finish in the top, haven't pushed because it's event right now, but usually finish in the top 20 to 50 range. Advanced Arena usually do a little bit better because you're not really forced to fight the Krakens with the most OP lineups. So ranking right now, 11th, not bad. Maybe consistently do really well in the guild arena, and that's where it's at. And championship again this time finished, like I showed, top 64. On the PVE front, let's take a look. So again, Tower Mark, they're finished. Faction, just enough to get my first Agatha E1. Starting to push a little bit more. I don't think I will get E2 Agatha on this account anytime soon. Dormant Ruins, I finished 30 on all of them. Was farming 31 rum and 32 recently on auto. Everything else finished 30. I can auto 30 here and maybe 28, 29 over here on Marius. So I'll be showing them later in the in-depth PvE guide when these events are on. So that's kind of, and of course Guild Boss, right? I forgot to show the other one. Guild Boss hits are 100%, but yeah, no problem clearing it in 2 hits. I mean, we can just do a quick test here. I mean, this is a pretty standard lineup, so easy over 200 mil. So this is what you can kind of expect as a low spend account progress, what you're able to do. Okay, so let's then talk a little bit about what I'm actually going to be covering in detail on this channel. You can probably see I'm kind of a notepad and taking notes outline kind of guy. So this is what we'll be covering on this channel quite a bit. So I have 2 series planned over the next little while. The first one, and I'll probably be posting video on both series depending on what's live on the event. I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time with you guys around team building, and team building is something that within the guild and within the community, a lot of people ask me about. How do I max min and how do I speed tune? I'm not a big fan of tier lists, but what I can tell you a lot is if you really want to think about is what different roles do your units fulfill in your team composition. So I'll go into a lot of detail about that, and that will give you the base foundational knowledge to build your own team based on the heroes that are available to you. The second one is around gearing and rolling. A lot of people ask me how on earth do I get my space so fast. So my space is 2800, a little 2857 after the aura, which is pretty fast, especially for a non-whale account. Well, part of it is you want to max out your talent support and you want to max out your tower mark as well. But that aside, it's all about thinking about how to roll. A lot of people tell me if they try to roll for everything, they don't have enough money for all the equipment. So you have to roll really smart. And if you look at my gear, most of them they hit a lot of max rolls for what's available to them. Like really, I don't have crazy rolls. I mean, for the most part, they're doubles. They're all doubles. This one's a triple. This one's a triple. So it's not that. I mean, I did get lucky. So here is one where people probably all dream of having, which is like a quad roll. But yeah, like my team is pretty fast. That's how I consistently win in PvP. Speed is king, like in pretty much every game, right? So we're going to talk about gear a lot, and then we talk about speed tuning, which is trying to get your entire team to move all at once without interruption from another team, which is very important for getting your team to be set up correctly. This is far more important in PvP than in PvE, but in both series, I'm going to talk a little bit more about speed tuning. Speed tuning is it needs to be very precise and dead on for PvP. PvE, you have a little bit more room for margin, and I can show you guys some examples where later when we get into those videos where my units are literally 1 speed apart to make sure there's no way of getting cut in between. Then we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about team compositions, and this one's really interesting because especially with Lydia, where really disrupted the meta recently. I would still classify most PvP meta into really thinking about how do you go first, or how do you survive and go second and counter back. So usually you see the speed cleaves where for example, the most obvious is like this from the basic of space, Bison into something like Margarita, right? But then you have the control, and then you just basically outspeed your opponent, you one-shot them, done. Or you have the control cleaves where you kind of control them and then you finish it up. Something like a Nizzo opening, freeze the entire enemy team, take away their first turn, and then you do whatever, wombo combo on damage wise you need to finish it. And then now we're seeing a lot more of the second turn teams becoming viable. First with the introduction of E3 Panda, where if you do get hit by control, you can fully cleanse it, and then you gain the turn meter, and then you finish off your opponent by taking over and cutting in between. You have the tanking meta quite prominent now with introduction of the rework on Nordak, where you're getting a passive massive HP boost, and the changes to arena, all arena types, where you get the 40% damage reduction. So that's really helping the tank meta quite a bit. And I'm going to be showing you some really cool cheese tactics where you can take down really difficult teams, but I'm going to save that for the future video, so stay tuned. I will be doing meta-analysis on all these teams, showing you what are the pros and cons of each, how do you actually use them, what are they strong against, how do you beat these teams. So what you'll find is really, I think looking at the low spender account is a great example of, I don't have the most broken heroes, but really it's always about attacker advantage. So if you have sufficient game knowledge on how to do your attacks in classic probably less so, but in advanced, because you have so many different teams, and also in championship, especially in championship, when you get into diamond where you have 4 teams, what I do is consistently win 3 teams, lose 1, and even against some of the biggest krakens out there, I can do that pretty consistently. That helps you push into top 64, right? Especially if you do it right near the reset time. So how do you do that? Is with exceptional game knowledge, you can push really far in PvP by knowing how to counter every single possible team that's out there. So to really show you guys how to do that is I will be having a lot of master class sessions. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the guild already signed up, and they're looking forward to helping me out on this, either using their accounts or doing live streams and showing them how to use their specific teams and heroes available to them to win all their matches, right? So looking forward to that part. So that's what I plan to cover in the PvP section. I know I talked a lot, just a little bit more. We're going to go over what I plan to do on the PvE side. So you saw the progress on both sides. For the events, it's really important to be able to farm. Gear is everything in this game once you have the heroes, and eventually people get the heroes, but really everyone can start farming for gear. And the older your account is, the more cycles you go through farming, the higher level you're able to farm, you're going to get the better gear to really, outwin your opponent. And here again, very similar type is your team composition is a little bit different, because really now it's more about damage mitigation, shields, and then most team compositions are like shield and you probably want something with attack down, speed down. Not as so much as in PvP, where you're looking for is more like a defense break, a tenacity down, where you can like cleave right through them. So Popper E3 or Popper in general is a great example of something that enables that. But in PvE, like Nordak is king right now in terms of team survivability, right? The other one is Jack. Damage amplification is what you're looking for to be able to get enough DPS to clear some of the higher stages within the amount of time before the boss damage gets out of control. Being able to put down attack down, so things like French and Mamook are huge in terms of supporting that. So we'll go into detail, taking a look at different roles again of different heroes that's going to be able to fulfill those roles. Gear, I think this is a little bit very much similar to PvE, but I think when it comes to what stats to focus on, it's going to be really different in PvE versus PvP. In terms of speed tuning, is a little bit more different now, because it's more about turn order. So often, if you have a different turn order within hero, for example, in Guild Boss, you can make a huge difference in the amount of damage you do, just in terms of who applies the burn, for example, burn offers, and who detonate will impact a lot on your damage. So, for example, with the comp I showed you earlier with Andreas there. Then I think what I'm going to do is spend a bit of time over multiple videos talking about the different team composition you want to use for each different different type of dungeons and how do you beat them effectively. For example, Tower Mark, what's interesting is I remember for the longest time finishing, finishing Tower Mark 30 on green was impossible for anyone without a Hez. For example, here you can take a look. Um, you look at the boss guide and you look at hero popularity. I mean, Hazanja is still 97%, right? I was one of the very first people that beat it without Hazanja, and I was using a Walter team. It was really funny. It took like almost 300 turns, but it was a lot of control turn meter manipulation to be able to do something insane like that. We can talk about Guild Boss. I mean, I think as a free to play or a low spender, you can probably get to 200 mil on the Guild Boss nowadays with the different type of available heroes. But again, the goal is to get to some of those heroes to make it possible. I'll show you different team compositions in that to help you progress because that is a great source of income for gems. Oh, one thing I probably should have mentioned earlier on is if you look at the gems that I have on both accounts, really, I don't even have weekly cards active anymore, but I'm able to pay 64,000 gems every event. I'm able to recoup pretty much all my gem consistently every month and also do the Dragon Egg event. The main income you're really getting is from arena placement and the other one is from Guild Boss. So progressing on those two will give you a stable source of gems, which translate into a lot of summons, right? Which translates into food, which helps you up your sanctuary. So that's what you kind of want to aim for, especially when you start on a new server. You want to be able to push as far as you can on arena and get those wins. Those juicy rewards every week is really worth it. Um, I know Faction Abyss is something that people want to progress for Agatha E1, E2. So I'll show you kind of what kind of heroes you can manage to do with just maybe one or two to push that far. I'm gonna show. I'll probably do more of the higher level showing on the whale account here, and do some of the easier teams on the low spender account. Master campaign progress. I'm not fully through, but I know some people really want to clear it, so I can talk a little about strategy on how to finish it off. I still got a bit of ways to go, but I mean, I got a 15 on quite a few of them. So I'll talk about a few key heroes you need for each. Elemental City. I think probably this is a way to show that yes, I have clear 75. I think what I'll do is as different rotations come on while I'm clearing it, I'll show you guys how to beat some of the higher level stages. And really, this is where you can really think about how you leverage your guildmates and use their broken heroes to help you clear some of the really hard content there. So I know I rambled on quite a bit. I hope this introduction video really helps anyone who's interested in this channel and want a reliable source to get a lot of good in-depth games knowledge about Infinite Magicraid. So I look forward to hearing from you, and you know, please post if you got this far. Thank you so much for the time you spent on listening to me ramble on for about 18 minutes or so. And put in the comments below and let me know what kind of content really interests you, and I'll try to roll out those videos first. All right. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care.